Hello, 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 hello. Hopefully everyone can hear me. That's the first thing anybody asks, right? Can you hear me? Hopefully you can. It looks to me like audio is coming through just fine, so I'm hoping so. And welcome to this Friday live stream with the Design Ninja. That would be good. My good self, Tony Harmer. Hi, Oliver. And who else have we got in there? Hi, M. Lloyd. Fantastic. Good to see you. Glad to have you here. Just going to give it a moment or two and just chat ski for a minute. So doing 80s t-shirt stuff today. 80s. The 80s. I don't know if I was there in the 80s. What do you think? What do you think? I think I possibly might have been. Kind of definitely was. I was a student and then at work. Craziness. But hey ho. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go ahead and get cracking. For this one, 80s stream, think we ought to have a bit of music. So let's spin that up. So I'm going to go across to my share now and spin in a bit of 80s tunes in there. So good stuff. So we can see all of that goodness. Fantastic. And here I am in Illustrator. Just so you know, if you're watching this on demand or even later on, or even right now, my interface looks very different to most people's interfaces, not all, because I use all of the plugins from Astute Graphics. That's nothing to do, they're not paying for promotion here or anything like that. It just is the way it is. And you vaguely remember the 80s as well, do you, Oliver? Cool. Fantastic. Right then, so I am going to create a new document just here, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and work at, I'm going to do 1080 by 1080 digital, even though it's going to be kind of print based, doesn't really matter. There we go. Document is set up. I am going to create a rectangle, but I'm going to do this by the numbers as well. 1080, 1080, both axes just there. It's got a white fill, black stroke, as is the default. Hit the slash key to get rid of that fill. Hold down Shift, tap X to do that, and then use my alignment controls to basically sit that on the background. There we go, or to become a background, because it's going to need one. Going to create a new layer. So here's a trick. I actually want this layer to be behind the one I'm currently on, for no good reason other than I just want it in the background there. I'm going to hold down Shift and tap D to switch the draw mode to draw behind, and then Command L for my new layer, and that gives me my new layer behind, and then Shift D a couple of times again just to go back to draw normal. And actually I'll take this off of here and drop it on this layer. There we go, EG. Super good. And lock that and then make it invisible. So I'll do some drawing and then I can pop that on to there. So I had a look at some reference bits for t-shirts and trying to remember a few bits myself. I pulled across a thing here. I kind of like this sort of thing, so I'm going to start off with that, I think, and add in a bit of a cassette tape groove going on. Do one of those too. Go ahead and build a cassette tape. Just pin that back up where I can see it, which I know is off camera for you. But how's the music coming through? All right, it's music not too loud, I hope. It looks to be a bit behind me, but loud enough for you to hear it. Let me know if there's anything different to that. Right then, so I guess the first thing I'm going to do is draw, for this one, is draw a triangle. I'm going to do this by points, so this is where I'm going to use the regular pen tool just here, and then go ahead. Ooh, I'm on the wrong layer. It would help if I'm on a layer that can receive some input. And just go ahead and drop in that shape. There we go. Nice, that's done. Direct selection tool, and let's give that sort of an 80s skew to it. So something, I think, like that is pretty groovy. Why am I using a trackpad when I've got a perfectly good screen to work on? Who knows? There we go. Something like that, I think, is pretty good. Nice. Shift X, I'm going to swap that out there, and let's make that stroke a bit chunkier. Just come across to my properties. There, groovy. Nice one. And then what I'm going to do is get one of the the rectangular grid tools and draw a rectangular grid. Kind of think that's not actually too bad. How many squares did I use in my other design? Way more than that. So I'm going to go way more than that here. Hold down Shift. They look pretty even to me. That stroke for these ones, however, is way too heavy. So let's dial that down to maybe something like that. Would be pretty good. Nice. Okay. Then what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to tap E to get my transform tool. Thanks for letting me know the music's okay there, Oliver. Cheers. I'm going to get my free transform tool here. I'm going to set it to distort, and then I'm going to go ahead and bring these sides out to the way that I want them to be. There we go. But I don't really want to align to the triangle too much. I want to go something like that. So it's kind of like you're getting a window through to something else. Of course, we all know why all the grid stuff, or suspect we know why all the grid stuff was around, right? In the 80s, it's because, you know, computer games for the first time. There we go. Triangle. Yeah. Memories. Memorex. Yeah. There we are. Perfect. There's some stuff there that I've got that's kind of redundant. What I want to do first of all here as well is just change the stroke color of these. I'm trying to strike a balance between what I want, which in the end will be sort of a blue neonish look, and you being able to see it on screen. 'Cause it's kind of pointless doing a live stream if I'm drawing a load of stuff in white and you can't see it. That doesn't work very well at all. So those are good the way they are. Now what I'm going to do, I think, first off is get this grid inside that triangle. Now the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to cut that to the clipboard. Now I could create a clipping mask by dropping a shape on top. In fact, let me do it so you can see. I'm going to get this shape here and send it to the back. Okay, in fact I'll even use the menu so you can see it happen. Right, so send to back. Here's the thing. Right, Command 7 for a clipping mask, and there's what happens. Right, there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, it's doing exactly the right thing. But the default behavior when you create a clipping mask in that way is the top object, the masking object, yeah, becomes invisible. And then what you've got to do when you select it is you need to kind of go over to edit the clipping path, right, or edit the contents using the control strip at the top. I'm going to undo that, okay, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm going to cut that grid to the clipboard. I'm going to target this triangle, and then I'm going to use that draw behind shortcut, Shift D, right, one time takes me to draw behind, 2 times with a selected object takes me to draw inside. And you can tell when that mode's active because you can see the dotted lines right around the corners there of the object, around the boundary of the object. Yeah, so you can also do those, change those modes in the bottom of the interface. Okay, just down at the bottom here, you can see how that works, right? You can see those icons just there. So I'm going to click away just to make sure that's deselected, it's still active, and then I'm going to paste, okay, like so, and drop that in, and there you go. Now I've got a clipping mask and I've retained the properties of the original mask there. Kind of like that, it's pretty good. Now, let's just see what happens if I add another stroke to the top of that. So if I target this, let's just add another stroke. Now I think it's only going to affect the triangle as it happens. Right, so I'll go ahead here, and in fact it's just showing a dead stroke just there. And there's the contents underneath. Mixed stuff, oh, and it's a group of course. Let's just weigh that up a little bit. Yeah, you see it's affecting just the contents because it's still governed by what's going on the top there. Okay, well, I'll come back to adding that. What's this one here, the artboards? Why have you popped out of the interface? There we go. All right, let's go to my appearance and get on with that. That's good. Everything there at the moment, I could change the stroke of that, just the stroke here, to something much, much lighter. In fact, let's go the whole hog and go really, really light grey. And we'll use that background just to show you where we're at. Good. Then I need some words. So what I'm going to do is get the type tool. And I'm going to type design. I'm going to go all caps. Just there like so. And make that a bit larger. And then choose something to use for it. Now, as a font manager, I use an application called Font Agent, which is good because I synchronize it across systems, and I've got a collection here called 80s. Okay, and I can scroll through these. I can actually change the thing here so you can see those. So I've got all of these different 80s style fonts. Ooh, Devil Breeze. Now, I might use a bit of Devil Breeze. Who knows? Yep, that's interesting. That's ethnocentric. Yeah, I think I'm going to use that intro demo. Yeah, but a whole bunch of different things. That's a cool one. Yep, that's shades of some of these remind me of, for some reason, of Battlestar Galactica. Well, I guess that was originally an 80s thing, right? Viper Squadron. Well, there you are. Vipers were the ships in Battlestar Galactica. Maybe that's what's triggering the memory. I'm going to go with intro demo. So, let's have a quick look at that. Let's go and type that. Ooh, nice. It's got some funkies. I might go big style on that. Right, so let's bring that down in size a little bit, something in that sort of region. Oh, Anika's here. Annika. Hey, Annika. Ooh, love some drawing side. Yes, so good. So good. Right, as you probably know, Illustrator doesn't like you putting gradients directly onto type. Now you can add, you can go ahead and add another fill on it, which is what we are going to be doing in a minute. But the best thing to do, right, if I just go here for the moment, is to actually kill off the fill of the characters. Yeah, was Battlestar the 70s? Was it really? Do you know, you're right, Oliver. It was the 70s. Because I can remember playing a game, I can't remember what the name of the game was, you know, a console, an arcade game, and the music from Battlestar Galactica was in it, and that would have been about 1982 or 3. So wow. Right, I'm going to hit the slash key there to get rid of any fill, right? Because otherwise, because of the way Illustrator deals with type, which is perfectly valid, by the way, right, dealing with the characters as a separate object to the actual type object itself. If you don't get rid of that original fill, you can sometimes see a hairline around it, and even though it doesn't seem to print, it's still not a good thing to have. So I'm going to drop in my own new fill, so Command/ to do that, or you can use the icon down at the bottom of the appearance panel, just here, and then we're going to go ahead and drop a gradient on that. So I'm just going to tap a period key on my keyboard to get a gradient, and then we can start building that out. Now I've got somewhere something I can nick for this gradient, but I think I'll make one based on it. So let's go ahead and start on that left hand side. Not that it will be a left hand for much longer. Let's go down to this end. That's kind of 80s already. That sort of stuff. Maybe a lighter green. Need something in the middle. Let's go orange. something like that is good. I'm just going to spread that. I'm going to also, pastels were big in the 80s, weren't they? Pastel colours. I'm going to change the mode here for HSB. The amount of times, by the way, I've mentioned to the Illustrator team, why do you have to go to a flyout to change the colour model? I even designed a bunch of icons for them, right, that would represent those different colour models. Yeah, you've got enough room around here to drop some icons, or down here, or even down at the bottom in the panel options area. You could just have a thing for CMYK. Yeah, they have icons for inks in other applications, and indeed even in Illustrator, right? So why not drop them down at the bottom? Yeah. Let me know how you feel about that. And I think I actually put it on user voice. So if you can find that thread on user voice, note to self, add that to something I can drop on screen later on. Rather than having to go up to a flyout menu. The thing is that Illustrator engineers, I think, are paid by the user interface element. So they've kind of got to add in a menu and another click. More clicks, please. Right, I'm going to change this to HSB because what I want, the hue and the saturation of it are just fine. I just want to model the brightness a bit. So I just want to bring that down so it's a bit more 80s. There we go. Something like that. But yeah, that's my sermon for the day. Yeah, or my speech for the day on why they should have those icons in the chat. Oh, and you've looked up Wikipedia for me. Wikipedia says the original series started the year before I was born. There you go. There you are. Right, so I've got that gradient. I'm not entirely sure that's the one I want on here, but I also don't want it in this orientation, so I'm going to draw that downwards, and that might change my opinion of it. I'm not loving that at the moment. I mean, I could always go full chromium on it. I think I'll just hold off for a bit on my opinion of where we go with that particular gradient. Is how I'm feeling right now. I want to change the alignment of this text. I've just realised that it's left aligned, and I want it to be centred. Now you can do that with Shift Command C. We'll take that to that. I'm going to go Shift Command L to take it back to left aligned. But as you've just seen, it moves it. Now my friends at Astute actually built in a thing to their vector first aid to change the alignment of that. You can see I've changed that to center aligned just by clicking that, and everything stays where it is. Why can't you do that ordinarily? Why does it have to move? Why does it have to move? Okay, so now I've got that, I'm going to add another fill to that text. I did it using the keyboard, so you can see I've got my separate fill here, and this one I'm going to expand that. Before I and by expand that I mean expand the outline of it. I'm just going to change the color here so you can see it for the moment, or when I start working on it. Down to the effects, just here, path, outline, not outline, offset path. There we go. It's going to need to be big. Something like that, I think, is maybe a bit bigger. Yeah, something like that is good. Now, I'm also not mad for the holes in that text, so I'm going to additionally run a Pathfinder on it. And this is where this comes in really handy for text, because Pathfinder works on sets of objects. Yeah, and this is a set of objects. A type object contains other objects. Yeah, so here I'm going to choose merge. That didn't work too well, so maybe add. So I'll click on merge in the list here, and let's go for add. Not working also. Ooh, that's interesting. It's filling a little bit, I think. Let me just increase the size of that offset and see. That's interesting. Normally that closes off pretty much any gap there. I could go ahead, I'll try another mode in a minute, but I'll just keep that where it is for the moment. Let's go on and change this to a gradient. So do that as well. I'm looking just off screen here. I've got some other gradients that I want to play with. So at the top here, I'm going to go to kind of white. Well, actually not kind of, definitely white. Then I'm going to go to really, really bright blue. Something like that. And I'm going to go for white again. I'm going to move all of these around into place in a bit. The struggle. Yeah, no, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. And we can feel it. Nice. And yeah, I'm going to get some amberish in there, I think. That's too amberish. Oh, do you know what? I think I'm going to stick with that's nice. And then this last one here, let's go near white again. That's going to look sour. There we are. Something like that. It's probably a good idea for me to commit these gradients to the swatches panel. And I'm going to just pop along and do that with the topmost gradient as well. Let's just do that. To there we are. Groovy. Right, back to the bottom one. Let's go ahead and to mix that. Do you know, I think that... I do wonder if it should be chromium inside. That's the great thing about this, is I can change this around now at will. If I say, right, okay, do you know what? I'm going to do that one on the outside and this one on the inside. And it's done. Maybe. Let's move some stuff around on here as well. Let's get the gradient tool. Let's zoom in. Kind of move some points around. I'm going to take this up to the top and down to the bottom. I'm going to need to move away from the text object though every time to see it. So like far enough away to do this. So this might be one that's better done in the panel, just to make life easier. Now for some reason, maybe it's because of the gradient annotator. Let's go back to there and to the gradient. That's annoying. I can't actually see it. Oh, no, now I can. So I can see it in relation to where I'm going. I'm going to need to draw that outwards a bit further. Let's do that. There we are. That gives me a bit more room. There we are. Nice. That's working much better. I do sometimes on this, sometimes add a radial gradient and make it really extreme and go right the way out with it. I'm going to change the blend point here as well for a couple of these. So that top one just needs to poke in just a bit. Let's make that softer, like so, and that will give it a slight edge. These ones need to come down a shade. Well, actually not a shade, quite a bit. Let's do that. I want to just get that there. Or do you think a bit lower? Kind of like it in the middle. There we are. Let's do that. Bring that down. I do want it to be slightly more crisp. That gives you that real horizon kind of look to it. Steer this one out and blend that out further. Oh man, last week on the stream I was doing last week, there was someone on who I could have sworn was Tim Merbest in the background, just having fun with an alter ego, which is just a game that we play from time to time. And so I was answering this person whose name was, whose handle in the chat was Dan the Man, and saying, yes, Dan, sorry, I mean Tim. Or yes, Tim, sorry, I mean Dan. And, oops. Spoke to Tim on Monday and said, it was not me. And for those of you who don't know who Tim is, Tim Merbest is from the Adobe. He's the studio manager for Adobe, for the live streams that I do with them. So, there we go. That chrome's pretty good, but now I don't like the outside at all. And I don't know whether to go chrome on the outside with that or stick with chrome in the middle. I think I'm going to stick with chrome in the middle, and I'm going to change this one out just here. Let's go ahead and mix that up. So what other gradients? Oh, I could do a sunset. Sunset gradients are always really good. And in fact, I could do that really quickly by just swapping these out. So let's pull that up a bit there. Let's take this. I'm just using default colours here, by the way. I'm not doing anything super clever with it. I'm changing the blend midpoint for those. I'm still not 100% sold on it, but I'm happier than I was with it a moment ago. Let me know in the chat. Best part of the production is when the studio manager speaks in your ear. Yeah, he does. Sometimes he says things that really make me laugh, and I have to not laugh. He is actually very professional, and he doesn't mean to make me laugh, but he just does. Because it's the way he reminds me. It's as if, like, how could you forget such a thing? So, more text, please. All caps again. Now, of course, Fat Willies. Have I still got Font Agent running? No. I closed it away. I am going to find in here. Man, there's a lot of stuff in here. I think what I want. Oh, do you know what? I'm going to call Font Agent back and just find the thing I want in here. Just to. Ooh. Now, black marble. I want something that's kind of brush painty. So I'm just going through these. I think it's black. Third rail. I'm going third rail. I'm going to just hide Font Agent because I don't think I'll need it again here, but third rail. There you go. That's totally 80s. That is. Right, what I also want to do here is, I think I'm going to change that first N. So I'm going to hold down Shift Tap T to get hold of the touch type tool, and then I'm going to scale this one up just a bit and then pull it down, so affecting the baseline. There, we've still got a cassette and stuff to come, by the way, just in case you're wondering. I'm going to move that J away a bit from the A, from the N, preceding N. I'm going to move that A in. This tool, I don't know if you use this tool or not, but I tell you what, this tool, I see so many people struggle still with the character panel to do things like this. Right, all of the things I'm doing are changing properties in the character panel. If I go ahead and just open that up, right, and then just move this around a bit, yeah, you'll see that the values will change. In fact, let me show you what the value is here for interlinear space for the leading just there, right, and then make a change here. Right, it's just changed. If I go ahead and move just that character like that, actually that's baseline shift that's going to affect. You can see that the baseline shift has changed just there. So this is just a more intuitive way for you to go ahead and use it. You hate it. You don't like it. Oh, outlining text. Oh man. Yeah, I see what you mean. I thought yeah. That's what they would do. They would outline the text. The minute you do that disconnection, of course, right, you're in the territory of if there's anything that's wrong, because, you know, we do make typos from time to time, or people decide they're going to change the language that they want to use in their text. They think, oh, do you know what, ninja's not the right word. Let's say design guru or something like that, and then you're in the territory of like, oh man, I've got to go back and repeat all of those, and sometimes remember the steps you used to get to that place. Ooh. Anyway, right, I'm killing off that fill. For me, that's muscle memory to do that. If I'm working like at full tilt, it'd go poof, poof, done. And that's all done. And then I'll apply the next thing. I go poof, gradient, like that on there, you know, that sort of stuff. Let me just apply a brand new gradient. Make that into that. What grads have I got in here already? I want me a spectrum. It used to be a thing, I think it was called Fat Willie's Surf Shack. And everybody wore these, seemingly everybody wore these t-shirts. Black t-shirts, neon ink, of course, available. Great out on the street and all of that stuff. Terrible if you happen to be working in repro at the time. Catalogue production, anything like that. Oh, man. Samantha Barnett, where are you now? She was a model that I used to know. Fantastic person, but she's remember seeing her in a neon green swimsuit. And I mean, she was breathtakingly beautiful. But I thought, yeah, that looks really nice. But at the same time, I was thinking, oh man, that's got to be a kiss plate to get that green into a catalogue. I'm not wired properly. Or maybe I am, I don't know. So I'm going to change the alignment of this gradient. And then I am going to use another tool here for this. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called AG Splatter, which is from Astute Graphics. Is Pat Willie still going in it? Oh man, I'm going to get a copyright strike, aren't I? Maybe. So, AG Splatter, super cool, very groovy. I'm just going to apply it just here so you can see what it does. Yeah. Now I've got a massive density on there, so it's going to take a moment to run. But when it does, it's going to give me some spatter, and it's going to do it based on. Oof, that's way too much. That's way too much. Okay. It's going to do it based on the original coloration of the object. Now that is actually crazy, as is the spread. So I'm going to change the density here. I'm going to bring that down to something a bit more realistic. So it will re-render that when I do it. See, that's much closer to what I want. I think zooming in would be a good idea, especially if you're watching this on a small device. Yeah, so let's go ahead with that. All right, and have that on just there. A couple of jets have just gone overhead, really very, very loudly. Right, so the parameters I can change here, right? Size, so I can change how big the splatters are, yeah, which is kind of nice. Yeah. I can also, yeah, change the throw, which is kind of like poof, how much paint you're throwing down. Yeah. So you can see there, just by if I take the throw to very little, yeah, you can see that you just get this kind of, which itself would be a nice ragged effect, but I do want that spillage and those spatters popping out, you know, beyond the actual work itself. That's much more what I'm after. Nice. And I'm going to change the spread, make that a bit wider. There we go. It's starting to get there. And it's just modelling these things. Look at that. Interesting effect, right? I've just chosen to replace the original with the spatter. Yeah, I think I'll just have it above the original. Yeah, that's kind of good, I think. That's very 80s. I'm really not happy with that that gradient in the background. Just there, that's going to have to change. And what I'm actually thinking now is swapping them out. I think I should perhaps have the chrome. Well, two things I'm thinking. One is maybe modify the background gradient to be grayscale, and that's the first thing I could try. But I don't know. I'm going to have a look in a minute. We will see. But I'm going to carry on dealing with this one first because I'm not done with it. So I'm going to add a new fill just here. So I've just done that with the keyboard to drop on a new fill. I could do something crazy like that. Of course, it's applying the AG spatter to the whole thing here. So I'm just going to drag that up and drop it down. So it's only creating the spatter there for the stuff on the outside. And do you know what? I'm not going to have that as a fill. I'm going to take that away. I'm going to add or drop a stroke on it, and I think possibly in white like that. Let's boost that. Right, I think a good thing to do might be to show our background just for a minute, so we can see if that's getting 80s enough for you. I think it is. But I really don't like that gradient, so I'm going to come along and attack the gradient right now. In my original design for this, by the way, I'm just going to bring that back on and fold it here. In my original design for this, I'd gone with the sort of sunset style type. I think that one looks kind of good, but I'm trying to mix it up a little bit. So I've gone for that sunset grad on there. Yeah. How's the tunes going down, by the way? How's the music in the BG? I don't know what stage we're at right now. I think we're on one of my favourite bits of this mix, but I don't get to hear it, so. More lens flare. Hey, Tim! Hey! Hey! Good to see you, man. Yeah, this one, I'm going to attack this. Let's have a look at where we are with that, because I'm going to do a safety gradient swap here. So what I have is I have just hit, if you have an active attribute in the appearance panel and you hit the plus, right, it duplicates that item. So I've got a duplicate of it. So what I've won already is safe. Yeah. I stand to win more though now by changing this out. So I think I'm going to go mid-grey, slightly darker at the top there. I am going to go to light grey in the middle. And dark grey down at the bottom. I'm still not happy with that, you know. Still not happy. I'm going to swap out the gradient. I'm going to put the chrome gradient on this one, like so. So they've both got the chrome gradient, and then I'm going to duplicate this one also. So once again, I've got a safety gradient there to use, and I'll drop this one on it. Those colours need to change. So I'm going to go to my original set of colours here. So I'm going to go into the realms of slightly, actually I'll stick with that magenta. I think I went into blue. Did. Into blue. And then into a hot, not a hot orange like that. Maybe something. That's not working for me. Nor is that. That's not too bad. I wonder what would happen if I swapped the middle of that out for orange. Ooh. Now for the moment, I'm not sure about the chrome now. Not sure about the chrome at all. But hey ho, we will see. I am going to select the background clipping mask now and that object just there, and I'm going to group it. Reason being, I want to apply an effect to that, and I'm going to use the graphic styles here. Let's go for neon. Let's see if we can, we're going through the middle with that one. Yeah, that works okay. So this is a quick way to explore those effects. Oh, suddenly busy. Hi Tim, here for it. This time it actually is Tim, and I'm not having to say yes Tim, sorry I mean Dan. I have a file with some great 80s gradients. I can send it over if you like. You can. The only thing is I won't be able to receive it on this machine, I don't think, Tim. But you can send it. You can send it over anyway. I'm happy to have. I've got a pile of them over here on my other screen that I am using as ref at the moment. Oh, a gradient preset file. That's cool. Send it to me anyway. I like the sound of that. Do you know what I think that... right, I'm going with that chrome. I'm sticking with that. I'm just going to undo a few times here because I've added too many of those to my graphic styles. I'm now also going to just ratify this a little bit by selecting all unused, and deleting those all unused. I don't want Von's gradients in there particularly right now. Okay, so now I've got the grid line inside changed. What I need to do is go for the outside. I think I'm going to have to go into direct selection with this one and try that from there. Let's give that a go. It doesn't want to do it. There we are. Because it's clipping mask, doesn't want it. So what I'm going to do is copy that. I'm going to go back in. I'm going to paste that in front and then apply that style to it. Of course it's clipped, isn't it? So I'll come all the way out. I've got this as a group, right? Or I will have in a minute. So I'll paste in front. I'll drop that one down. It shouldn't be doing that. Am I in draw inside mode? No. There we are. Ooh, that's interesting. I'm going to bring that to the front just to make... Yeah, see, it's still working within that clipping group. That is a very interesting... I copied it, but I didn't copy the path. I copied the clipping group. Super good. So what I need to do then is copy that. I'm going to go and move off artboard here and paste. So I've got just a path there. That's good. And increase the weight. That's because it's got the graphic style actually has a pathway in it. So let's move that across. And align those two things to the top and the right edge. There we go. Suddenly I'm back in a studio in Nottingham. There we are. Good. So we need a cassette tape. It's a good idea for me to save this as well. So goody. I tell you what, it looks loud. It looks nice in the thumbnail. I can see a thumbnail of it on the stream. There, it looks nice. I also just realised that when I went for the AG Splatter, I didn't change where I was on the screen. So AG Splatter is down here. This is what AG Splatter looks like. So you'd have only seen a portion of it. But there you are. That's what it actually looks like. Just so you know. I think I'll stay at the top here. Snaz. I like it up here. Good. Right, so cassette tape, I'm going to draw in a separate file, I think. So I'll create a new file using the same profile here. So Option Command N, Alt Control N to do that. I'm going to place an object, Shift Command P, and I've got a screenshot of another file here. And actually, I'm going to add. Nice. There we go. I'm going to go to this layer, turn it into a template. There we go. So that's dimmed, and add a new layer to draw on. Sweet. Okay. Right then. So rectangle based work, I think. Now, actually thinking about it, what I could do, it's quite common for me to work from the larger shape inwards, but I think what I might do this time is I might actually work from the background outwards. There's some logic for you. That might work. Yep. So I'll do that. So keyboard, L on my keyboard, just there, and then I'm going to draw a circle. Something like that is good. Let's bring it down to there. I'm going to draw all of this in black only, just to start off with. Yeah, and make that a bit larger, and then just change the size. Here, make sure those two things are latched together, and bring that in like that. There we are. Needs to be slightly smaller. Maybe about that. Let's go 105. Happy with that. Cool. Then I need to draw these spokes. These are the things. How many? Do you know? It does make me wonder these days, because some people, they like the design of a cassette tape. Yeah, but unless they've been watching Stranger Things, they don't know what it actually is. One of my in fact, my friend Maddie, who certainly Tim, Annika, and Oliver know, she found a box of cassette tapes at home, and one of her kids, I think it was Chloe, went, "What are they?" And Maddie said, "Oh, they're music." And her daughter just said, "Really?" Just God, Mum, Spotify. Right, I've just drawn a rectangle about the size of the spoke that I want, something like that. In fact, do you know what a smarter move would have been to do? Whoa, back up, Tone. Yeah, would have been to come over to this spoke here and draw something like that. Would be good. And then just round off those corners, because they wouldn't be perfectly rectangular like that. There you go, something like that is good. I'm then going to select the ellipse. And now I've selected that, I'm going to click on it again without holding any keys down to make it a reference object. Key object, there you go, and click align to center. Just there. Floppy disks. Annika in the chat found a load of floppy disks. Man, I think I've still got one somewhere. Oh, no, I haven't. I've got a box full of them, because they're in the original Illustrator 88 box, which is in Studio B over there. So it's I have got one on one of the shelves in Studio B. Now I've got that, what I want to do is I want to rotate it around this center, but I don't want the circle selected, but I want to know where the center is. Now, smart guides do sometimes find the center, but you can see it's not finding the center of that ellipse. How to fix is the question. And I'll give you a suggestion. Because there are a few different ways you could do this, but the one that works for me is to select that object, go to the window menu and come down to attributes, like so. And in the attributes, if you show all of the options, you've got an option to show a center. Now, bizarrely, that is actually on. It's showing it when it's there, but it's not showing it when it's selected. That's kind of curious. Or when it's deselected rather. Yeah. So I'm not really seeing it. What I can do is I can go ahead and get a drawing tool, go to that center. Oh, do you know what? I'll do it a different way. So I'm going to draw a line just here for a moment. Okay, I'm not worried about the size of the line. I'm going to rotate that line about its center. So I'm just going to do this for that. I'm going to do 90, hold down Option here and hit return, which creates me a copy. I'm then going to align those three things together like that. Again, key objectville just there, and then I've got the center. Now I could change those into guides, yeah, but hey ho. And how many have I got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so R for rotate. Let's go to that intersection of those things. There we are. Option key down, click, and I know what the number is that I'm after, right? But just in case you don't, I'm going to type 360 divided by 6, yeah, which gives me 60 degrees, like so. And then I know what the rotation amount is. Option return, yeah, so create a copy, Command D, Command D, Command D, Command D. And there we go. Done. And these two things are now, whoops, are now no longer required. But the circle is. So you stay there, circle. Yeah, you guys go away. So that bit's done. I'm going to outline the path here. Now I've actually attached myself a shortcut for this just to show you. I've used Option Command 0, not 0, O. Reason for that being, normally in Illustrator that's attached to the Browse in Bridge command, but I use that so infrequently that I just tend to launch Bridge, and so I don't need that shortcut, so I just reassigned it to that. Now I've got that, I am going to join all of these things together. I don't think any of them are going to move, so I'm going to make that a permanent join, like so. There you go, that part's done. Now I need another ellipse based on the first ellipse, and the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to go into this object, right, and I am going to copy that one and then paste it in front just here, and then go outwards just a bit like so. Swap the fill and stroke over, Shift X, because this is the small bevel that you would see on the actual tape. And by the way, these spooling things would hardly ever be central like this, because they'd be carrying the weight of tape. So the one on the right hand side here, sorry, on the side I'm on with the most tape on it, yeah, that would that one would probably be lower. If you held it up, it would drop down fractionally. I'd have probably created the spokes using the circle with a dashed line. Do you know, you could have done that as well, Tim? That would have worked. Yeah, that's a good suggestion, that, actually. I don't think macOS supports my USB floppy drive anymore. You'll be pleased to know Amazon still sells diskettes with Prime shipping. Yeah, man, there are going to be systems that still use them. Excuse me 1 second, I need to grab a drink. That's odd. It's 'cause it's not open. That circle's really handy as well, because I am going to use it again in one of a number of ways. So I'm actually going to paste another one down right now, and then I'm going to bring this out to create the first spool of tape. I'm going to send that to the back. Let's start dropping some colour on here. Again, just using the default colours at the moment, ferro tape, just there. Now I'm going to paste again in front. I am going to do the holding down of the shift key and then just punch that one out. There we go. So there's our tape. That's good. I'm still keeping that one there. For that, the tape never reeled up that neatly inside either. I know. That's that's where you need one of these. Yeah. Do you remember you put that in the spool and go like wind, 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 or you'd have a bit that would get some minute amount of grease on it, typically from your fingers. Yeah. You only need one old car stereos, you only needed one person to have a bit of muck on their hands and pop a tape into your cassette player, yeah, and you knew from that moment on, unless you got in there, a car stereo is terrible because you couldn't get in to clean the heads, yeah, you knew from that moment on you were going to get sticky tape issues from time to time, yeah, where it just goes, and you go, no, it's eating the tape, all of that stuff. Very, very old problem. I'm actually going to paste again in front here, and I'm going to do one more time the shifting, but not on that one. I'm going to actually do it on this one, just here, okay, and knock that one out of that one. Ooh, have I not got them both selected? Get for the outer one first, which I'm also going to copy over the inner one, and then punch those out. That's very odd. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm just having a bit of a, I think I was selecting the other thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is my weird mechanism for doing things that won't behave. Okay, I'm going to give them both a fill. Now we'll do that again. That is very odd. Please tell me there are two intersecting paths just there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm taking that one back down and changing the colour, just temporary. I know what the problem is now. It's that. It's because this one isn't on top of that one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In case you're wondering why I'm counting, it's because I'm using the arrow keys and the shift key held down. Yeah, so that I can, you know, move things by a predictable amount. Now, when I do that, we should get a successful punch out. There we go. And I'm just going to drop a gradient on there just so I know what that one's for. Brill. That's working so far. While I'm here, actually, what I could do is actually change that gradient around. Mind you, I might not use it. So I will go solid. Tap the comma key on my keyboard and Shift X to swap those over. That way it's noticeable enough for me to know that it's there, yeah, but not going to affect anything else. And I'm going to group those and just call those tape. I'm going to use the layers panel here so I can get to them. So I'm just going to change the name. Oof, like that. There we go. In fact, I'm going to call it Tape L because there'll be another tape in just a minute. So let's Shift Alt drag a copy. Call this one Tape R. Ooh. And have a quick look at what's going on in the chat. Haha, that hour spent carefully pulling tape back out. And oh, I know, desperate to salvage both the cassette and the player. I know. No, I don't miss cassettes either. Oh, we've got Stefan here. Hi, Stefan. You should use a pencil for that. True. Winding on. So I'm going to take this one across onto the other object. But I've got other things to go in this stacking order, right, such as the front of the cassette itself. But I'm just making these parts for now and working with the stacking order as against it. Here's a trick for you. If you want to see the outlines of a particular layer, if you hold down Command on a Mac, Control on Windows, and click on the visibility icon, I've gone for the wrong one, just there, it should hide. Oh, it might not because I'm in a thing. Yeah, you should be able to Command click on there and it will change to that, but because it's part of a layer and not a layer itself, I'll do the whole layer. There we go, that's working perfectly well. And then I can move this one around into place, something like that. That's working very well. There we are, perfect. Now Command click that again just to restore it all back to that goodness. Right, so I want to get my direct selection tool and hit the larger spool here. I'm then going to tap S on my keyboard and hit return, and then start scaling this down. Ooh, I'm going to have to scale that central hole as well. That's fine, I can do that in the... in fact, what I'll do is, now that I know that, is I'm going to isolate that object. And then get that outline and I'll repeat that. So scale, hit return, start dialing down, because before I was scaling the entire compound path. There we go. Oops. I accidentally started typing before I committed. Then we'll try that again. There we go. Good. And back out we come. Nice. Lock that and bring that down. New layer. Start working on the next batch of stuff. In fact, I could actually view this one as outlines now that we've got it. Da -da 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 -da. I love that trick, but your camera is placed on top of the layers. Thank you for letting me know. Of course it is, so let me just switch across. I'll go back down to this bottom corner for the minute. Cheers. Back in the corner, Tony. Note to self, I've changed the interface around to my power up. So I need to kind of move that thumbnail across. Do you know what? The music's going to disappear for a second. Just here while I go ahead and make that change for you. Okay, so if I come along and change that, just going to move it over a bit. There I go. All right. Mind you, you're still going to struggle when you see the panel open, but hey ho. Right, music restored. Good stuff. Let's have a quick look here. Off to some meetings. See you later, Tim. Good to see you here. Thank you very much. And yeah, sorry my camera's there. There you go. Groovy. Right, so back into Illustrator. Yeah, I command clicked that thumbnail just there, just so you can see it, to do that. And now I'm ready to draw more stuff on this layer. So I'm just going to call this cassette label. Yeah, like that. Groovy. And then start to build out here. So rectangle, doof, like that. Just going to swap over the fill and stroke so it's easier for me to draw. Put that in place there and there. And this is going to form like the root of all of the rest of the work, really, in many ways. And are we thinking jazzy colour scheme for this to drop it into the t-shirt? I am. I'm thinking like boom. Very pink. Zoom in there a bit and just change that out. Not that it has to be bang on precise, to be perfectly honest. And draw another rectangle just here. Again, this one wouldn't be perfectly square, it would be slightly. So this is for the aperture through, so you could see the actual tape inside. There we are, something like that. It's good. I'm going to need this rectangle again, actually, so I need to keep a note of where that is, because I'm going to need to use it as an opacity mask for the larger rectangle above. Yeah. If I want if I really want it to be see-through and whatever else, all of that good stuff. So next is the line tool. So I'm going to just go ahead with the line tool here. Draw a line across there, and let's drop some line segments onto the edges. I'm just going to deselect that for a moment so I can get to that end. Option key down. I'm going to start to increase the weight of these. There, so I'll get both of those and pump up the weight a little bit. I think about 3 points should do it, maybe 4. Just going to mute for a second. I actually will mute this time. So just bear with me just a second. There we are. Last week I was streaming, I had a coughing fit, and it didn't work out well. Now, what I could also here, if I wanted to, or I'm duplicating both, I could have used a transform to do this and scale it down each time. But do you know what? It's perhaps more effort than is really required for this one. I can go ahead and just resize these separately when I want to. So in fact, if I just do that now, something like that, maybe smaller. So I'm just holding down Option and Shift to do that, and I'm going to do the same just here, just fractionally. There we go. That's working pretty well. I'll then select all three of these. I know what else they need here, by the way. These three for definite. They need round end caps. Let's do that. And then O for the reflect tool. Let's find the center of this line. Should be around about there. It's not showing me the center. I'm not too worried. I'm just going to eyeball it to there. Option and click to do that. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, that's all working fine. I'm going to say OK to that. Whoops a daisy. I'm not going to say OK to that at all, because what I actually want to do is create a copy. So Option, Return. There we go. And then I can just move that out a bit. There we are. Perfect. I think that's working pretty well. Just there. These could all be a group. In fact, I'm going to outline those as well using my shortcut. And I'm going to hold down the Option key when I join these together, just so that they actually no, I'll join them. Oops, I'm using Punch and not that one. There we are. So they look like one object, but they are indeed several. And that's pretty good. Right, the work I need to do now then on this is making sure that this shape, if I do intend to use it in colour, is I just had a sudden thought that I don't want those to be outlined at all, because I need another one right here. Font agent's getting upset. Let's find out what that wants. Oh, right, okay. It's not doing my thing. Groovy. It's because I'm on a different machine to the one I'm normally on. And let's go ahead and eyedropper those. Perfect. Good. Right then. So, I'm afraid I have to watch this one a couple of times over. So much information. Thanks for those vids. Hey, mate, you're welcome. You are very welcome. Right, that bit's complete. I'm going to not worry too much about going ahead and colouring up just at the moment, because I may not colour this up. I may have it in line form. So I'm just going to bring a copy of this one up to the top here, and then come down to the bottom and sides there. Too much of a radius on there. Good. And a bit more. That's good for those. I could draw the stripes though. I'm going to do it. I'm going to draw the stripes just now. I'm going to make them from one object. Okay, so I'm just going to draw that like so. And direct selection. In. And in. Right, appearance panel for this one. So this first stroke here, I'm going to stick with the colours more or less that I've got on the artwork behind. So I'm basically just going to dial this up to around about that first weight, which is 34 points ish. 34 points is what I'm going to run with. Just there. Then I'm going to add another new stroke, Option Command or Alt Control / to do that. I'm going to work on the one underneath. Yeah, so that then. Well, actually, there's a couple of ways I could do this. I could make wider strokes here, or I could just move these around by the correct value. So let's do that, just so you can see. So if I go orange for this one, that's underneath the first one. So I'm going to go Distort and Transform, and all I'm going to do is move this vertically. Now if I move it by 34 pixels just here, or points, you can see it's going downwards like so, but I'll change that to, in fact I'll leave that one as it is. I'll do the next one down, and then I'll go ahead and I'll create the two for the top just here with negative values. Just bear with me 1 second. In fact, just give me just a moment. Just here. And we are back. Groovy. So I've got that orange. It's not the right orange, doesn't matter at the moment. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to add another stroke. I'm just going to duplicate the one that I've got here and work on the one underneath. Let's change this to blue, and then of course we need to change the value. So 2 times 34. Oh, in fact I need to add another 34 in half is 17, right? So I need to add a 17 on the end there. So I could just type plus 17. Oof. That's still not quite right. Or maybe it really does need to be. That's because I'm using it based on the one before, not on the original reference. There we go. 100 also means that the stroke here needs to change length. There we go. I can then take both of those and duplicate them. I'll change the stacking order of these, and what should happen, right, for these two here is I should be able to change these to negative values. Oh, what happened there? It's not having it. Ah, that's because I'm doing the weight. High tone. Right, we'll change that to a negative value just here. There we go. And we can see that that's out slightly. I can change that as well. This one here. Yeah, I've changed the wrong value, haven't I? We are still seeing, right, okay, I've changed the wrong value there. Easily done. That's better. Right, I'll get rid of that one. I forgot to change this here. So that's right, and that's right. Okay, so the transform here needs to be 68 pixels. This is the one down at the bottom still. There we go. That's correct. I can duplicate that one and take it down to the bottom. You could argue, right, you could say, well, yeah, what you've got there, you could just draw those shapes. Could. Absolutely you could. But this this method gives you some flexibility here. If I now go ahead and change this one to vertically the other way around, so let's do minus 68 just there. I think let's just tab through. There we go. And now I've got that, so I can just change these colors. They're in one place, they're quick and easy. I can select them without problems. Let's zoom out and see what the colors should be. So that one should be sort of red on the top there, and it would help if it was targeted. There we go. Red at the top. Let's go for that sort of Coca-Cola red. And then the next one, let's just change that first just to see which one I am changing. That's it. So that one should be orange. Just there, the middle one's yellow. The next one is green on that plan. Why is that changing down there? Ah, right, okay. I can see where the problem is to that. Let me just change that back to blue. Yeah, I think that this orange one here, let me just turn that off. Okay, it's that orange one. There you go. Green. Nice. Anyway, there you go, as one object. It's kind of handy. And given that I'm going to actually make this change across the whole label, I'm going to take that to the other side, like so. There we go. And just make sure that's in to there. Annika, by the way, I was watching you and Cody Bear streaming. That was cool. I liked it. I liked it very much. It was good. Nice. There we are. The other elements there, whether I'm not going to include the detail elements from there. I don't need it for this particular one. Let's go ahead and draw the rectangle for the outside here. So just setting it up so I'm drawing there with there we go, with that shape. Nice. And that's pretty good. Got that little thumbnail-y bit on the side. I'm going to join that together to do that. I'm going to increase the stroke here so you can see it more clearly. And then just change the size of the object. There we go, let's bring that down. Just a bit there. There we are. Right, and then bring in the corners. So let's pull those in. That works. And this one here, this particular element that we've got there, I'm going to draw another rectangle in that region. I'm going to round off those corners a bit. Again, that's not critical, nor really is this detail, you could argue, right? But I kind of like it being there, so I'm going to do that. And then I need to flip where this is, so I need some sort of center reference point. So just in case the smart guys let me down. Smart guys never used to let you down, but for some reason these days they sometimes do. I don't know why that is. Anyway, right, so now I've got that center reference point. I can tap O on my keyboard, or actually let's just get rid of what we don't need there. I'm just going to use the shape builder to just knock that part out. There we are. That's good. Reselect this. Hold down tap O. Come to the center of this line. Hold down Option. Click. Okay, and then Option Return to create a duplicate. When I am actually drawing something like this, just so you know, I quite often have something like this off artboard, or just barely on the edge of the artboard, so I've got a center reference point for where I'm working. I just leave it there, I lock it, yeah, Command 2 to do that, and that way it stays there, so if I do need to do it, I don't need to go drawing extra stuff. These will essentially be one body part here, so I'm going to join those together just now. That's fine. The bit on the front here, however, is very important, so let's go and do that. I'm going to get the rectangle tool again, draw a rectangle, groovy. There we go. That's fine the way it is. I'm then going to get rid of this bottom segment, so direct selection tool, click on the bottom segment and hit delete to get rid of it. And with the direct selection tool, I'm going to select these 2 points and using the arrow keys on my keyboard, move them up like that until they're on that stroke. Keeping those selected, I'm going to tap S on my keyboard for scale, and then just bring those out. Wow, we've got about 10 minutes left, so I've got to crack on and do that. So I'm just going to get basically the outlines of this without the cassette tape part in it. Good, that's fine. I'm going to hit OK, and let's draw some quick stuff here. So let's draw an ellipse there like that. For that will be fine as it is. A rectangle just here. So let's do that. Punch out those corners. Do you remember there used to be a tabby bit on the top of cassette tapes as well? It used to be sort of a tab thing that you could hit to stop it being over recorded, but then if you found you needed a cassette tape in a hurry, you'd be putting a bit of sellotape over the top. Man, these days are much better. There we go, so we've got all of those. Let's very quickly draw this screw, because that should take us like a second to do that. We'll just draw, not literally a second. Draw, oops-a-daisy, an ellipse. There we go, looks like that. And then we'll go with the line tool from the centre there. Let's just, there we are, and put the rounded corners on the, oh sorry, the rounded end caps on. Let's just change that width. Nice. Rotate tool. I'll keep doing that, not committing the dialogue. There we go. Right, rotate tool, R, boom, 90, copy, doof. There we go, that's those things done. Select both, and I'm going to outline them using my shortcut that I assigned. That's good. Let's see what we've got on here. I had so many cassettes with tape over the holes. Oh, me too. Me too. And as a music student initially in the, well, I was doing music and art, music and fine art to start off with, and I switched to graphics. Ooh, do you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to turn that into a symbol. So I'm going to use function F8. Oh man, I forgot I've got my keys assigned already. So just F8. Screw head. So now I've got that as a symbol, so if that needs to change at all, which I can see that it might need to do so, I can just go ahead and pop those in just there. There we are, that one's fine where it is. And do you know what, pretty much the rest of this could be done with a transform if I wanted to, but I'm just going to go at it this way by getting those there and bringing them across. So let's get both of these, option key down, bring those into play. Oh man, it's because it's got that panel, go away appearance panel just for a minute. There we are, done, that bit's ready. You know, really I would have to do the additional bits here to get this tape ready to go, because if I turn on the layers now, those things there, just checking for where my thumbnail is, I'd have to do those bits for the label, but we've got the basic elements there anyway, and I'd need to create opacity mask for those things. How long have I got? 6 minutes. Oh, can I do it? Yes, I can. Right, I'm going to get that shape in the middle there. I am going to get this shape just here. Remember my shape builder, I am going to push that one out of that one. Let's just go to the selection tool, swap the fill and stroke over. Yeah, that's working just fine. Now I need, I'm just going to go into isolation mode here. I need that shape there. I'm going to get this path. I'm going to go to the opacity panel. I am going to make a mask. I'm going to focus on the mask, and I'm going to paste. Oops, I'm going to paste in front. Command F to get that on. Just change the appearance there. Ooh, I'm changing that to white, but I'll need that for the next one. However, I can copy that for in a minute, so I'm going to copy that as well and invert the mask. There we go. So we've got that going through for the lines. That's good. Back to the artwork. Back to this one. I'm just going to fill that with pinky sort of stuff at the minute. Just send that to the back. Oh, let's turn the clipping off. There we are. That'll be what that is. Undo, undo. Send that to the back. Turn off the clipping. There we go. And this thing here, let's make that. Swap over the fill and stroke there. Make that maybe. We'll make that one the pinkish one. We'll make the label, so whoops-a-daisy, that needs to get at the back. I've said whoops-a-daisy about 80,000 times today, and my wife always tells me not to exaggerate. Good, right, I need to go to the tapes here, which should be a group. They are, which is good news, because I want to go to the opacity here, make a mask. Oh man, it's using the front object, so that's truly not a group. Now it is. Make a mask. Go into that mask, paste in front because I've got that shape just there. That should be good. Let's go back to the artwork, change the layer stacking order. So we should see those there. And the actual cassette body here also really does need that shape in it. So I'm going to paste that down, get both, punch out. And there we go. We've got the beginnings of our tape. I could use Recolor Art to quickly change these things here. In fact, let's do it. Let's just do some random thing. Let's do the color theme picker and pick on that. Yeah, solid. Let's just randomly assign. Oh, that worked. Go with that. There we are. So now, if we go ahead and make sure everything there that we want is selected, we can copy that, go into this file here, drop that down, group it together, and pop that on the bottom. The last thing I'd probably do with this is go ahead and show it a bit of 3D extrusion love, I think. So if I went to effect here, I'm just going to do a quick save first. I recommend that you do that before you go near this dialogue at all. I'm going to choose extrude and bevel. Let's see what it makes of that. Oh, that's working out all right. I just don't need quite that much depth. There we go. Something that's not updating, that's why. There we are. Let's go 8. Nice. There we go. Yeah. I like the fact that this is widgetized now, that you can go ahead and change the 3D position on there by moving it around. That way I want to do a bit of Y-axis rotation. Just get that closer to the front and then rotate it around a bit more like that. There we go. Colour work needs doing on there. So I need to, oh, that's interesting. I didn't notice that had happened with the clipping mask. So I'll fix that later on. I'll just do something. I'll create a symbol thing from the top. But there you go. Something like that is where we need to be. I can fix the other bits, take the effect off it. In fact, I'll just do that now. I'll just take the effect off and I'll fix that later on. So I'm not leaving you with something that's done. But that's it for this week If you're coming back next week, I will see you then. Thanks for joining me and all that stuff. For those of you that watch Adobe Live, I'll see you on Adobe Live next Wednesday and live here again at midday next week, where we're probably doing some Photoshop stuff next week. I'll have to have a look at the schedule. I'm pretty sure I did schedule that in. All right, see you later. Take care, everyone. Mind how you go. Alrighty.